Hey everybody, hope you guys are doing good. Thanks for being here. Today I just wanted to share with you guys my experience with breastfeeding weaning of my 3-year-old. Yes, I did breastfeed him for 3 years. So I just wanted to, talk about it because it's not something that I feel like a lot of people talk about, even way before they start breastfeeding. It's just not something. I think more emphasis and more is poured into initiating breastfeeding, but not a lot is talked about as far as how to go about breastfeeding weaning or what it's like, what people's experiences are. So I just wanted to share with you guys our experience, me and my son Gabriel's experience with you all. So I just briefly wanted to share kind of my journey. I'm not going to go in all to the nitty gritty stuff, but I went back to work when he was 12 weeks old. So I pumped at work for at least a year, 3 pumping sessions a day. And then after he turned a year old, that's when he kind of transitioned to doing cow's milk. But from there, we did still do some, breastfeeding throughout the day. And on the weekends. So once he got a little older, closer to 2, it, kind of started weaning off a little bit. So he would only breastfeed first thing in the morning and then after school or after daycare, right when we got home. And then usually before bed. And then on the weekends when we were together, all day, he would kind of basically breastfeed on demand. And getting towards the end, again, between the 2 to 3 year age range, I don't think I was really producing that much milk, to be honest. I was definitely producing, but not to the point where my boobs were getting engorged and I had to relieve myself or whatever. It was literally more for a small amount of the nutrition part of it, I think, but more I think he wanted to breastfeed for the comfort and the closeness. So why did I breastfeed for so long? It's not really something I thought that much about, to be honest. I wasn't oh, I'm gonna breastfeed until he's 3 years old. I really didn't think of it like that. I think it was just, I listened to him, I kind of based it off of him, and partially too the nutrition side of things and the immuno benefits to it. But more, it was just I let him take the wheel and guide us on this journey. It was obviously something that he really liked to do and wanted to do. And, I saw the benefits. And really the main thing I noticed was just the comfort that it provided and just kind of how it gave him the emotional stability whenever he was really upset, breastfeeding really just helped him kind of center himself and regulate himself. Again, I think the regulating aspect of it really came through. And then I guess getting towards the end of it, closer to when he was 3, I kind of just gave in to him. At that point I was I should maybe be thinking about weaning because it's kind of just getting a little bit more of it was becoming more of an annoyance to me, which I'm okay, that might be one sign. It's a sign to kind of start with the weaning process. But I just did it to appease him because at that point he was kind of getting more whiny and more demanding of it. So I'm okay, this is kind of getting a little bit challenging, and I think I gotta start thinking about the weaning process. So that's when it all kind of started. And at that point, he was probably around the 2.5 year age range. So I thought about this. I'm some people might be wondering, how long is it recommended to breastfeed for?
If you want to stop me, you're gonna have to kill me!
Last I checked, I think the World Health Organization recommends breastfeeding for, they say, 2 years and beyond. So kind of broad there, kind of not very specific as far as an ending day or time or whatever. And then I think the CDC is going to be expanding their recommendations to follow that as well. I think, don't quote me on that. So anyway, obviously there's so many great benefits to breastfeeding. That's not what this video is about. But the longer you do it, I guess, the better it is. But I should say, really, you can go based off those recommendations, but it's going to be up to you and your little one. That's all, bottom line. That's what it all boils down to. What's your desire? What's your goal as a mom, as a breastfeeding mom, but also kind of, honing in on what you feel is best for your little one. So I just want to share a few of the challenges that I experienced while like in the weaning process. One of them was just the fact that he's like vocal now. He knows how to talk. So he would voice that wherever and whenever, of course, and not always in the most convenient locations. But one positive thing I wanted to share with you guys is like, yeah, it was actually around the age, he was about 2 years old. We were at my cousin's little one's birthday party. We were at a playground, and that was one of the times where he was like, nurse, nurse, let's nurse, nurse.
Nurse, nurse.
Nose, nose.
Nurse.
And so I did. I sat on a bench, and of course there's little kids, parents running around and stuff. But while I was breastfeeding him, another mom who had a little one, I'm not sure how old their baby was, but anyway, she came up to me and she was just like, thank you for doing this. Thank you for breastfeeding in public. I really find this like supportive and encouraging. And I just wanted to say thank you. So I was like, oh my gosh, I just made like a little impact in some other mom's life, by, breastfeeding a toddler, out there for the world to see, and just, being like a support system, and, maybe kind of just showing her like that she can do it too, and just being, encouraging of that. So I was like, oh, that's really touching. So that was a little positive little side note there. The other thing, like towards the end, was that I noticed was more of like the nipple discomfort. I never it was never an issue, like especially in the beginning. I know like you can get really sore nipples and that type of thing, but towards the end I'm like, my nipples aren't real. I feel like they're just done. They're like overused. It's been 3 years almost. Like they need to retire. So I definitely noticed like just the irritation and the aggravation that it was like causing my nipples. And if you guys are wondering what the shadow is, there's a punching bag here. Whoop. So that's what that is. It's not like a ghost or an evil spirit or anything like that. So what is the main reason as to why I really decided to initiate breastfeeding weaning? So actually Gabriel had it was almost his 3-year well child visit, and I did discuss like the whole breastfeeding weaning side of things with the doctor, and one of the things that she brought up was just the fact that like kind of wondering like, well, like not why is he breastfeeding for so long, not really that, but I did share with her like what I thought, like why he wanted to continue breastfeeding, and that just being the fact that he was using it as like a coping mechanism for when he was, like out of his element, not in his comfort zone, when he was like not at home and he was around new and different people. I found that he would want to breastfeed at those times. So he was using it as a way to, again, like regulate, but to comfort himself and to cope with the situation. So his pediatrician suggested, well, that might be a good indicator for you to think about weaning, because you want him to be able to develop coping mechanisms and skills to, help him, figure out the situation and figure out his emotions and his reactions, and just to learn to cope. That's the key word today, I guess, to cope with the situation. So that for me was like a really big eye-opener, and a little push for me to be like, yes, okay, this is a good time to breastfeed wean. So you may be asking, well, how did it all work out? Like, what did you what did you do? Like, how did you do it? That's not what this video is about. I'm not going to give you tips and tricks and all of that. I'm just going to share with you like what worked for us. So as I mentioned, he's about 3 years old. At this point, he understands me. He knows language. He can speak himself. So I basically was just verbal with him. I said, you know, and again, at this point in time, we were only breastfeeding like morning and evening, and then not bedtime, but then on the weekends, it would be kind of like on demand. So at this point, what I did was I just said, you know, and I kind of weaned off of one session at a time. So I started, I think, yeah, with the morning nursing session. So in the morning, he would come to me, he'd get up and he'd be like, nurse, nurse. And I'd be like, no. I'd be like, all done. It's like, no more, all done. And he would whine a little bit, he would fuss, but I would just comfort him, cuddle with him, be like, it's okay, we're all done. And he understood that concept of what that meant, what all done meant, what no more meant. So I found that really helpful and really basic and really easy. So again, you're just trying to help them, or in my head, I'm trying to help him find another way of comfort. You know, whether it to be like a stuffed animal or something like that, or again, just like a soothing touch. Mother's love, like that's the most comforting thing there is out there, right? So just bottom line is just really good communication. Just like we should be communicating well in all aspects of our life, relationships and all of that. Same thing goes with your little ones, regardless of how old they are. So how have things been going since we stopped breastfeeding? I'm not gonna lie, I don't know why I did that big sigh, but it's been pretty good. There has been time to time where he will ask to nurse, which I'm like, oh. But I'm just like, all done, no more milk, all gone. Actually, I haven't checked to see if I'm producing milk still. Let me go do that. Oh my gosh. I didn't expect that. So we stopped, what? It's been about 2 months. I still have a little bit of milk in there, you guys. Oh my God. I did not expect that. I was like, no, it's dried up, like powder. It's just gonna be like poof, powder shooting out. No, there's still a little bit of milk in there. So I wonder when that's gonna go away. Maybe I'll follow up with you guys. I don't know. But again, I'm not getting engorged or anything like that. I don't even know it's in there. But one thing, I really, I still have moments where I kind of miss breastfeeding. I'm not gonna lie. Especially since, this is probably my last child. I have shared with you guys, I'll put the video link up here or over here, one of the two, just that, you know, I might be done with having kids and my husband doesn't want kids. So I made a video solely dedicated to that. So, I work in an environment where I see breastfeeding moms. I have a sister-in-law who just had a baby, a sweet little boy, and seeing them breastfeed, it just really brings back memories, and it kind of gets me emotional. I'm not gonna lie, I'm getting a little bit tearful right now. Because it's such an amazing experience. I hope if you're thinking about breastfeeding, or if breastfeeding has been challenging for you, I hope you keep up with it, or at least initiate and try. Anyway, I'm not gonna rant or anything about that, but it's definitely been emotional, because again, it's the last time I'm ever gonna breastfeed a baby again. And there's something so magical. I know it's a dumb thing to say, but it's true. There's something so magical, powerful, the connectivity, the connection with your little baby. There's just, it's just an amazing thing. And to think that, you know, I'm done doing that, I'm never gonna do it again. It really gets to me. So that's been difficult working through that. And to be honest, I try not to think about it. I try to just move on, and just, you know, just enjoy my kids and every stage of life that they're in going forward. But that is definitely something that's really hard for me. Okay, so getting that out of the way. Ooh, tissue. The other thing is I feel like my boobs are a little saggier, and that's like expected when it comes to breastfeeding, right? Just the joys of motherhood and the changes that your body's, the changes that go on with your body. I don't care. It's fine. I'm fine with it. But I have noticed that they're a little bit more deflated, like a little droopy. I don't know, water balloons, I guess. I don't know. That's the visual that came to mind. So I have noticed that. Saggy boobs. And then the other thing is just obviously the freedom, or I don't know if that's the right word, but basically I'm not like, I don't have to like stop what I'm doing and go breastfeed him because he's, you know, having a coping issue or whatever. He's independent now for the most part. I mean, obviously to an extent. And again, he doesn't really ask as much. And I feel like he is able to regulate himself. He's learning his emotions, and his reactions and how to cope with things. So those are a few of the benefits that have come from breastfeeding weaning. All right, so that is it for this video. Hopefully you gleaned something from this, but share down below in the comments, like, where are you at? Are you thinking about breastfeeding weaning? Are you in the throes of it right now? Are you thinking about breastfeeding at all? You're maybe an expectant mother. Please comment down below. I'd love to hear your story and what you are going through. All right, well, it's awesome to have you guys here. Thanks for stopping by. So good to see you. That being said, stay cool, be strong, and I'll see you guys again in the next video. All right, bye.